two powerful alien empires, the Drakari Dominion and the Zelnath Alliance, have been locked in a relentless war for years. Both sides possess advanced technology and massive fleets, yet their forces are so evenly matched that neither can gain a decisive advantage. The conflict has ground on, with countless battles fought, and no clear victor in sight. Planets have been devastated, and star systems have been reduced to rubble as the war drags on, consuming resources and lives at an alarming rate. The galaxy watches in apprehension as these two titanic powers continue their struggle, knowing that any shift in the balance could have catastrophic consequences for the entire region. Yet, despite the destruction, the war seems destined to continue indefinitely, with no end in sight. As the war continues to grind down both empires, desperation begins to set in. The Drakari and Zelnath are both facing mounting casualties, depleted resources, and growing unrest within their respective territories. Economies are collapsing under the strain of prolonged conflict, and the civilian populations, once supportive of the war effort, are now demanding an end to the bloodshed. Leadership on both sides is under immense pressure to deliver a victory, but the realization is dawning that neither can achieve it through conventional means. The frustration and desperation are palpable as both empires search for a way to break the stalemate. The war, which began with grand ambitions, has devolved into a grinding, attritional conflict that threatens to destroy both empires if something doesn't change soon. Humanity, a relatively new player on the galactic stage, has quickly earned a reputation for their resilience and strategic brilliance in past conflicts. Though not as technologically advanced as some older civilizations, humans have consistently demonstrated an uncanny ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome challenges. Their tenacity in battle and their unconventional tactics have made them a force to be reckoned with. Stories of humanity's past victories have spread throughout the galaxy, with many civilizations viewing them with a mix of respect and wariness. Humans are seen as unpredictable, capable of turning the tide of battle in ways that defy expectations. This reputation has led to growing whispers among the warring empires that perhaps humanity could be the key to ending the stalemate. Their involvement could provide the decisive edge needed to finally tip the scales, but it could also introduce a volatile element into an already unstable situation. In their desperation, the Drakari Dominion begins to seriously consider the possibility of recruiting humanity to their cause. The idea is initially met with resistance, as many within the Empire remember the unpredictable nature of humans. However, as the situation grows more dire, the potential benefits start to outweigh the risks in the minds of some Drakari leaders. They reason that humanity's strategic brilliance and willingness to take bold risks might be just what they need to break the deadlock. The idea gains traction, and soon the Drakari begin to explore the possibility of making contact with the humans, despite the warnings of their seasoned diplomats. The stage is set for a decision that could either bring an end to the war or escalate it to catastrophic levels. A group of seasoned alien diplomats, representing various neutral species, have closely monitored the ongoing war between the Drakari Dominion and the Zelnath Alliance. Among them are individuals who have witnessed the ferocity of humanity in previous conflicts. They have seen firsthand the unpredictable and often devastating outcomes when humans are drawn into war. These diplomats have long understood that humanity's involvement in any conflict is a double-edged sword. While humans can bring about a swift and decisive victory, they also have a tendency to escalate situations in ways that no one can fully control. The diplomats, aware of the Drakari's growing desperation, are deeply concerned about the rumors that the Dominion is considering involving humanity in their fight. They know that once humans are brought into the equation, the war could spiral into something far more destructive. The historical record provides ample evidence of humanity's impact on previous galactic conflicts. In several instances, humans were brought in as allies or mercenaries, and their involvement often led to outcomes that were both unexpected and catastrophic. In one notable conflict, humanity's tactical brilliance turned a losing battle into a resounding victory, but at a tremendous cost. The humans introduced new strategies and technologies that the opposing side had never encountered, leading to a total rout. However, the aftermath was far from positive. The use of unconventional tactics resulted in widespread collateral damage, destabilizing entire regions and leading to long-term consequences that are still felt today. In another instance, humanity's refusal to back down led to a prolonged and bloody conflict that could have been avoided. These examples serve as stark reminders of the risks involved in bringing humans into any conflict. The alien diplomats, armed with these historical precedents, urgently deliver their warnings to the Drakari leadership. They caution against the temptation to involve humanity, emphasizing that the potential risks far outweigh the possible benefits. The diplomats argue that humans are too unpredictable, too uncontrollable. Once they are drawn into a conflict, they tend to pursue victory with a single-minded determination that often leads to unintended and far-reaching consequences. The diplomats stress that humanity's involvement could tip the balance in the war, but not necessarily in a way that the Drakari can control. Their plea is clear: do not drag humanity into this conflict, for the cost may be too great for both sides to bear. Within the Drakari Dominion, the debate over whether to involve humanity intensifies. Some leaders, driven by desperation and a desire to end the war quickly, see humanity as a potential savior. They argue that the human strategic prowess could break the stalemate and deliver the victory that has eluded them for so long. On the other side of the debate are those who heed the diplomats' warnings. They fear that bringing humans into the conflict could unleash a force that the Drakari will not be able to control, potentially leading to their own destruction. The internal conflict becomes a battle of wills, with each side presenting compelling arguments. As the debate rages on, the Drakari leadership finds itself at a crossroads, facing a decision that could determine the fate of their empire and the entire galaxy. The potential strategic advantages that humanity could bring to the Drakari Dominion's war effort are undeniable. Known for their innovative battle tactics, humans have a unique ability to think outside the box, devising strategies that often catch their opponents off guard. Their superior adaptability allows them to quickly adjust to changing battle conditions, turning the tide even in seemingly hopeless situations. Additionally, humans are renowned for their unconventional thinking, often employing tactics that other species would consider too risky or unorthodox. These qualities make them a wild card in any conflict, capable of tipping the balance in favor of whichever side they align with. For the Drakari, who have struggled to gain an upper hand in the war, the prospect of harnessing these qualities is highly enticing. Despite the dire warnings from the diplomats, the temptation to recruit humanity into the conflict grows stronger within the Drakari leadership. As the war drags on and their situation becomes increasingly desperate, the allure of a quick and decisive victory becomes harder to resist. The prospect of finally breaking the stalemate and bringing an end to the bloodshed is too tempting for some to ignore. They argue that with humanity's help, the Drakari could not only win the war but also secure their dominance in the galaxy for generations to come. The risks, though acknowledged, are downplayed in the face of the immediate need for a solution. The more the Drakari leadership contemplates the idea, the more they convince themselves that the potential benefits outweigh the dangers, leading them closer to making a fateful decision. The Zelnath Alliance, the opposing empire, is not oblivious to the rumors that the Drakari are considering involving humanity in the war. The possibility alarms them, as they are well aware of humanity's formidable reputation. In response, the Zelnath leadership begins to discuss potential countermeasures. Some propose strengthening their defenses and preparing for the worst, while others suggest taking preemptive action to disrupt any Drakari attempts to make contact with humanity. There is also a faction within the Zelnath who believe that if the Drakari are seriously considering bringing humans into the conflict, they should do the same. They argue that if humanity is to be involved, the Zelnath should be the ones to secure their allegiance first, potentially turning the tide in their favor instead. The possibility of a new, unpredictable factor entering the war forces the Zelnath to rethink their strategies and consider options they previously wouldn't have entertained. Both empires, driven by desperation and the desire for a decisive advantage, begin to secretly reach out to humanity. The initial contact attempts are cautious, with either side wanting to fully reveal their hand. Drakari envoys are dispatched under the guise of diplomatic missions, testing the waters to gauge humanity's interest in the conflict. They offer enticing incentives, advanced technology, strategic alliances, and the promise of shared dominion over conquered territories. Simultaneously, the Zelnath initiate their own overtures, presenting themselves as the more stable and trustworthy ally, capable of offering greater rewards in exchange for humanity's support. Both sides carefully craft their messages, aware that how humanity responds could determine the outcome of the entire war. The stage is set for a delicate dance of diplomacy and intrigue, as each empire tries to win over humanity to their cause, all while remaining wary of the consequences of bringing humans into the conflict. Humanity's initial reaction to the overtures from the Drakari Dominion and the Zelnath Alliance is one of cautious skepticism. The leaders of Earth and its colonies are well aware of the ongoing conflict between the two alien empires, but they view it as a distant war that does not directly impact them. Having fought their own wars to secure a place in the galaxy, humanity is reluctant to get involved in a conflict that doesn't concern them. The risks of entangling themselves in a war between two equally powerful forces are clear, and there is little desire to expend resources and lives on a cause that offers no clear benefit to humanity. The initial consensus is to keep a safe distance, avoiding the potential quagmire of becoming a pawn in someone else's power struggle. Despite humanity's reluctance, both the Drakari and the Zelnath intensify their diplomatic efforts, each seeking to sway the humans to their side. The Drakari offer access to advanced technologies and exclusive trade agreements, promising to share their vast resources in exchange for military support. They paint a picture of a prosperous future where humanity could emerge as a dominant power in the galaxy by aligning with the right partner. On the other hand, the Zelnath approach with a mix of caution and urgency, warning humanity of the dire consequences of siding with the Drakari. They highlight the Drakari's history of betrayal and conquest, suggesting that if the Drakari win, humanity could become their next target. Both empires attempt to play on humanity's ambitions and fears, creating a diplomatic tug-of-war that leaves human leaders deeply conflicted. Within humanity's leadership, a heated debate emerges. Some argue that aligning with one of the empires could provide significant strategic advantages, securing humanity's future in a galaxy where power is often dictated by alliances. The rewards on offer are tempting, and there is a recognition that whichever side humanity supports could gain a decisive edge in the war. However, others warn of the dangers of getting involved in an interstellar conflict of this scale. They point to the unpredictable nature of war and the potential for humanity to be dragged into a prolonged and devastating conflict that could cost countless lives and resources. The moral implications of intervening in a war that humanity did not start are also a major concern. The debate is intense, with both sides presenting compelling arguments about the future direction humanity should take. In the end, humanity's leaders reach a consensus to remain neutral. The decision is not made lightly, but it is driven by a recognition of the potential dangers of escalating the conflict beyond control. By staying out of the war, humanity avoids the risk of becoming entangled in a battle that could spiral out of control and lead to unintended consequences. The moral implications of intervening in a conflict that does not directly threaten humanity also weigh heavily on the decision. Ultimately, the choice to remain neutral is seen as the most prudent course of action, allowing humanity to preserve its resources and avoid the potential fallout of being dragged into a war that could reshape the galaxy in unpredictable and possibly destructive ways. Humanity's decision to remain neutral sends shockwaves through both the Drakari Dominion and the Zelnath Alliance. The Drakari, who had been counting on humanity's involvement to tip the balance in their favor, react with frustration and anger. They had invested significant resources in their diplomatic efforts, and humanity's refusal feels like a betrayal. The Zelnath, though relieved that their enemies won't gain a powerful ally, are nonetheless wary of what this neutrality means for the broader conflict. Both empires find themselves in a heightened state of tension, now fully aware that they must resolve the war without the decisive edge they had hoped to gain from human intervention. Diplomatic relations between the empires and humanity become strained, with each side blaming the other for the failed negotiations. The galaxy watches closely, as the balance of power remains precarious, with no clear resolution in sight. Faced with the reality that humanity will not be coming to their aid, the Drakari Dominion is forced to reassess their strategy. Desperation pushes them to consider more extreme measures. They begin to experiment with untested technologies and deploy risky tactics in a last-ditch effort to break the stalemate. These moves are fraught with danger, as they strain the limits of their resources and push their military forces to the brink. The Drakari leadership, driven by the need to achieve victory at any cost, takes increasingly reckless actions, hoping to force a decisive conclusion to the war. However, these efforts only serve to further destabilize their position, creating new vulnerabilities that the Zelnath are quick to exploit. The Drakari's gamble does not pay off, leaving them in an even more precarious situation than before. Behind the scenes, the alien diplomats who had warned against involving humanity work tirelessly to broker a truce. They use humanity's refusal as a key point in their negotiations, arguing that the continued escalation of the conflict will only lead to mutual destruction. The diplomats leverage the growing exhaustion and desperation on both sides, emphasizing that neither empire can afford to continue the war much longer. Their efforts begin to gain traction as the leaders of both empires realize that the path to victory is no longer clear, and the costs of continuing the war are becoming unsustainable. Slowly, the diplomats manage to bring the two sides to the negotiating table, using their influence to push for a peaceful resolution. Their success is a testament to the power of diplomacy, showing that even in the midst of a brutal conflict, reason and negotiation can prevail over brute force. The resolution of the conflict, brought about through diplomacy rather than warfare, serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers inherent in involving unpredictable elements like humanity in interstellar conflicts. The story highlights the importance of carefully weighing the consequences of such decisions and the value of seeking peaceful solutions, even when war seems inevitable. Humanity's refusal to be dragged into the conflict ultimately prevented further escalation and allowed for a diplomatic resolution that might not have been possible otherwise. The broader implications of the story suggest that while power and military might are often seen as the ultimate tools for resolving disputes, the true path to lasting peace lies in understanding, negotiation, and the willingness to explore alternatives to conflict.